the Mind Over Stoic audio series.
Welcome to a new episode of the Mind Over Stoic podcast, where we explore the transformative power of Stoicism in overcoming life's greatest challenges. I'm your host, Valentino, and today we're embarking on a journey into a new and compelling category: true crime stories of escape and survival. In this series, we'll dive into real-life tales of individuals who faced unimaginable hardships, where the will to survive was paramount. These stories aren't just about crime and punishment, they're about the extraordinary resilience of the human spirit. We'll uncover how the principles of Stoicism, courage, wisdom, resilience, and hope were applied, often unknowingly, to navigate through these dark times and emerge stronger. Our first story in this series is one that captured the nation's attention and left a lasting impact on many. It's the harrowing yet inspiring tale of Elizabeth Smart, a young girl who was abducted from her home in the dead of night and held captive for 9 long months. Elizabeth's story is not only one of survival, but also of incredible strength and endurance. Despite the intense physical and psychological abuse she faced, Elizabeth demonstrated remarkable resilience and an unyielding will to live, which echoes the very essence of Stoicism. Tonight, we will delve deep into the events of Elizabeth Smart's abduction, her harrowing captivity, and the relentless search for her. We'll explore the moments of her courageous escape and the aftermath that followed. Throughout her ordeal, Elizabeth unknowingly embodied the core tenets of Stoicism, showing us how these ancient principles can guide us through even the most terrifying experiences. As we recount Elizabeth's story, I invite you to reflect on the Stoic virtues she exemplified. Consider how these principles can be applied in your own life, helping you to face and overcome your personal challenges. So, sit back, listen closely, and join me on this journey of survival, resilience, and the enduring power of the human spirit. Let's begin by setting the scene and understanding the events leading up to that fateful night of June 5th, 2002, when Elizabeth Smart's life changed forever. To truly understand the extraordinary nature of Elizabeth Smart's survival, we need to start from the beginning. Let's go back to a seemingly ordinary night that turned into a nightmare for Elizabeth and her family. Elizabeth Ann Smart was born on November 3, 1987, in Salt Lake City, Utah. She was the second of 6 children in a close-knit, loving family. The Smarts were known for their strong faith and community involvement. Elizabeth, a bright and talented young girl, enjoyed playing the harp and was an avid reader. She was, by all accounts, a typical 14-year-old, looking forward to a summer of fun and family activities. On the evening of June 4, 2002, the Smart family attended an awards ceremony at their local church, where Elizabeth received recognition for her academic and musical achievements. The family returned home, and as the house settled into the quiet of the night, Elizabeth went to bed, unaware of the danger lurking nearby. Brian David Mitchell, a drifter and self-proclaimed prophet, had been watching the Smart family for some time. Mitchell, who referred to himself as Emmanuel, believed he was commanded by God to take young girls as his wives. With him was his accomplice and wife, Wanda Barzee, who shared in his delusional and criminal mission. Mitchell had worked briefly at the Smart home months earlier, giving him intimate knowledge of the family's routines and the layout of their home. In the early hours of June 5, 2002, Mitchell broke into the Smart home through an open window. Armed with a knife, he crept into the bedroom, where Elizabeth was sleeping alongside her younger sister, Mary Catherine. He woke Elizabeth, threatening her with the knife, and ordered her to follow him silently, or he would harm her family. Terrified and disoriented, Elizabeth complied, beginning a journey into the unknown. Mary Catherine, though pretending to be asleep, witnessed the abduction in a state of silent shock. Once Mitchell and Elizabeth were out of the house, she ran to her parents' room, frantically trying to explain what had happened. The Smarts' worst nightmare had just begun. The family immediately called the police, and within hours, a massive search operation was underway. The Salt Lake City community rallied around the Smart family, with volunteers scouring the area, distributing flyers and offering support. Law enforcement agencies, including the FBI, joined the search, but despite their efforts, there were few clues to follow. The abduction gripped the nation, with media coverage bringing widespread attention to Elizabeth's plight. As Elizabeth was led into the mountains near her home, she was forced to march barefoot through rough terrain. Mitchell and Barzee took her to a makeshift campsite, where Elizabeth's life of captivity began. Her abductors quickly asserted control, subjecting her to physical and psychological abuse and attempting to break her spirit. Despite the immediate and intense fear, Elizabeth's inner strength and hope began to take root, setting the stage for her incredible journey of survival. Elizabeth's abduction was the beginning of a harrowing ordeal that would test her in unimaginable ways. Yet, even in those initial moments, the seeds of resilience and courage were sown. As we continue her story, we'll see how these qualities helped her navigate the darkest of times. Stay with us as we explore the next chapter, Elizabeth's life in captivity and her unyielding will to survive. Are you looking to gain clarity and focus? Ancient wisdom meets modern challenges on the Mind Over Stoic audio series. Informative and inspirational yet concise episodes on Greek philosophy are sure to help you overcome life's obstacles so you can thrive in today's ever-changing world. Subscribe now on your favorite podcast app and start transforming your life. The Mind Over Stoic. See you there. Welcome back now. We turn our attention to the heart-wrenching period of her captivity. This is where Elizabeth's inner strength and resilience were truly put to the test. Imagine being taken from the safety of your home and plunged into a world of fear and brutality. For 9 months, Elizabeth Smart lived this nightmare. Her captors, Brian David Mitchell and Wanda Barzee, subjected her to relentless physical and psychological abuse. Yet, in the midst of this darkness, Elizabeth's mental fortitude began to shine through. Mitchell, who fancied himself a prophet, subjected Elizabeth to relentless psychological manipulation. He told her she was chosen by God to be his wife and that her family no longer cared for her. This was a twisted attempt to break her spirit and make her compliant. Elizabeth endured sexual assault, verbal abuse, and constant threats. Wanda Barzee, acting as Mitchell's enabler, participated in these abuses, further compounding Elizabeth's suffering. Despite the constant abuse, Elizabeth's mental resilience began to shine through. She clung to her memories of her family and her faith, using them as a lifeline to maintain her sense of self. She recited prayers and hymns silently, drawing strength from her spiritual beliefs. This inner fortitude helped her resist the psychological tactics employed by her captors. Elizabeth developed various strategies to cope with the trauma. She tried to stay mentally active, using her imagination to escape the harsh reality. She would visualize her family's faces, recalling happy memories and holding on to the hope that she would see them again. Elizabeth also learned to navigate her captors' moods, trying to avoid actions that would provoke further abuse. This careful observation and adaptation were crucial survival mechanisms. Elizabeth's daily life was a series of struggles to meet basic needs while avoiding further harm from her captors. Mitchell and Barzee would sometimes take her into nearby towns, forcing her to wear disguises to avoid recognition. These outings were terrifying for Elizabeth, but they also provided fleeting glimpses of normalcy and humanity that she clung to. During her captivity, there were moments when Elizabeth considered escaping. However, the constant surveillance and the fear of retribution against herself or her family paralyzed her. Mitchell had conditioned her to believe that any attempt to escape would result in severe consequences. Despite these fears, Elizabeth continued to look for opportunities, a testament to her unbroken spirit. There were a few instances when Elizabeth encountered strangers during her captivity. Each time, she was unable to signal for help due to Mitchell's threats and the fear instilled in her. These interactions were bittersweet reminders of the outside world and the life she was fighting to return to. Elizabeth Smart's time in captivity was marked by unimaginable suffering, yet her resilience and mental fortitude shone through. Her ability to endure such hardships while maintaining hope is a powerful testament to the strength of the human spirit. As we move forward in her story, we'll see how these qualities played a crucial role in her eventual escape and recovery. Stay with us as we explore the next chapter, the relentless search for Elizabeth and the pivotal moments leading to her freedom. Next, we turn to the extensive search efforts by Elizabeth's family, the community, and law enforcement. We'll uncover how hope and perseverance kept them going in the face of uncertainty. But before we get to the next segment, let's briefly acknowledge the 3 Stoic principles that Elizabeth unknowingly embodied throughout her captivity. 1. Endurance. She endured physical and psychological hardships with remarkable strength, refusing to let her spirit be broken. 2. Acceptance. Elizabeth accepted the reality of her situation without giving in to despair. She focused on what she could control, her thoughts and reactions. And number 3. Courage. Facing daily threats and abuse, Elizabeth's courage was evident in her ability to maintain hope and a desire to survive. Now let's move on. While Elizabeth Smart was enduring her captivity, her family and community were tirelessly searching for her, holding on to the hope that she would be found. Now, let's explore the relentless efforts to bring Elizabeth home. On the morning of June 5, 2002, just hours after Elizabeth was abducted, her family immediately reported her missing. The police responded quickly, and an extensive search operation was launched. The Smart family home became a command center, with law enforcement, volunteers, and media all converging to aid in the search. The FBI joined the effort, recognizing the severity and urgency of the case. The Salt Lake City community rallied around the Smart family. Thousands of volunteers participated in searches, distributed flyers, and provided support to the family. The sense of solidarity was palpable, with people from all walks of life coming together in a common cause. Vigils were held, and the family's faith community offered constant prayers and support. The case garnered significant media attention, both locally and nationally. News outlets covered the story extensively, broadcasting Elizabeth's photo and details of her abduction. The Smart family made public appeals, urging anyone with information to come forward. The widespread media coverage kept Elizabeth's case in the public eye, ensuring that it remained a priority for law enforcement and the community. Despite the massive search efforts, there were few leads. The lack of concrete evidence and credible sightings was a constant source of frustration for the Smart family and investigators. The initial composite sketches of the suspect did not yield any significant breakthroughs. The passage of time without any substantial leads was agonizing for Elizabeth's family, who remained steadfast in their belief that she was alive. Elizabeth's family faced an emotional roller coaster. The uncertainty and fear were overwhelming, but they drew strength from their faith and each other. Ed and Lois Smart, Elizabeth's parents, were determined not to give up. They became advocates for their daughter's safe return, channeling their anguish into action. The family's unwavering hope and resilience were crucial in sustaining the search efforts. Law enforcement agencies employed various strategies to find Elizabeth. They set up tip lines, followed up on leads from across the country, and even brought in psychics and experts in child abductions. The search extended to nearby states, and investigators worked tirelessly to piece together any information that could lead to Elizabeth's recovery. Despite numerous setbacks, the determination of the investigators never waned. As the months passed, there were moments of potential breakthroughs. In October 2002, Mary Catherine Smart, Elizabeth's younger sister who had witnessed the abduction, remembered a critical detail. The voice of the abductor sounded like Emmanuel, a man who had done some handyman work at their home. This revelation provided a new lead, but identifying Emmanuel proved challenging, as his real name and whereabouts were unknown. In February 2003, a critical breakthrough occurred. A sketch based on Mary Catherine's memory of Emmanuel was released to the public. This led to increased media attention and more tips from the public. Finally, in March 2003, a woman recognized Mitchell from the sketch and reported seeing him in Sandy, Utah.
911, what's your emergency?
Law enforcement immediately acted on this tip, and on March 12, 2003, Elizabeth was found walking with Mitchell and Barzy in a suburb of Salt Lake City. The officers approached the trio and began questioning them. Elizabeth, still under the psychological grip of her captors, initially hesitated to reveal her identity. She had been conditioned to fear the consequences of speaking out, believing that Mitchell would harm her family if she did. In a pivotal moment of courage, Elizabeth decided to trust the officers. She revealed her identity, breaking free from the mental chains that had held her captive. Her bravery in this critical moment reflected the stoic principles of courage and wisdom. She understood that this was her chance to reclaim her life, and she seized it despite the immense fear she felt. Once her identity was confirmed, Elizabeth was swiftly taken into protective custody. The news of her rescue spread rapidly, bringing a wave of relief and jubilation to her family and the community. Elizabeth was reunited with her parents and siblings in an emotional and tearful reunion. The 9 months of fear and uncertainty had finally come to an end. Elizabeth was taken to a hospital for a thorough medical and psychological evaluation. Despite the trauma she had endured, she displayed remarkable resilience. Her physical health was assessed, and she received treatment for the effects of prolonged deprivation and abuse. The psychological evaluations revealed her extraordinary mental fortitude as she recounted the horrors of her captivity with a clarity that amazed her doctors and therapists. Brian David Mitchell and Wanda Barzy were arrested and faced charges of kidnapping, sexual assault, and other crimes. The legal proceedings were lengthy and complex, as both Mitchell and Barzy attempted to use insanity defenses. Elizabeth's testimony was crucial in securing their convictions. Her courage in facing her captors in court was a testament to her strength and determination to seek justice. Mitchell was sentenced to life in prison, and Barzy received a 15-year sentence. Following her rescue, Elizabeth embarked on a journey of healing and recovery. She returned to school and gradually resumed her normal activities, supported by her family and community. The Smart family sought therapy and counseling to process the trauma and rebuild their lives. Elizabeth's resilience was evident as she began to advocate for other survivors of kidnapping and abuse, using her voice to raise awareness and inspire hope. Elizabeth Smart's escape and the immediate aftermath of her rescue highlight the incredible power of the human spirit to endure and overcome. Her ability to seize the moment of courage and reclaim her life is a profound example of Stoic principles in action. Elizabeth's story did not end with her rescue. It marked the beginning of her journey as an advocate and a symbol of hope for many. Elizabeth pursued her education and achieved several personal milestones. She graduated from college, got married, and started a family of her own. These achievements symbolize her triumph over the trauma she endured and her ability to build a fulfilling life beyond her past experiences. Elizabeth Smart's story is a remarkable example of how Stoic principles can guide us through the most challenging experiences. Her courage, resilience, wisdom, and hope are qualities that we can all aspire to cultivate in our own lives. By embracing these principles, we too can find the strength to overcome adversity and emerge stronger on the other side. As we conclude Elizabeth's story, I invite you to reflect on the lessons we can learn from her journey. Consider how the Stoic virtues she embodied can be applied in your own life. How can you draw on courage in times of fear, resilience in the face of hardship, wisdom in difficult decisions, and hope in moments of despair? Thank you for listening to the Mind Over Stoic podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please download, subscribe, leave a review, and share it with others who might find it inspiring. For more episodes and resources, visit our website at www.mindoverstoic.com and stay tuned while we build our true crime and stories of survival series for our listening pleasure. Together, let's continue to learn and grow through the wisdom of Stoicism. And remember, no matter what challenges you face, you have the strength within you to overcome them. Until next time, stay strong and stay stoic.